Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Oh, c'è anche un fellowship. Perché lui non si vede, giusto?
Esatto. Adesso guardo bene.
Hi.
You want to present by this laptop, right? You want to present your presentation by this laptop or your
This one.
Okay.
Yes, miss. We uploaded all the presentation. It's okay?
Yeah.
Quindi chi è il primo? Quindi chi è il primo?
Ma
Confermato?
Sì.
Sì, esatto.
poteva farla anche a casa.
Sì.
O a Torino.
Allora inizi. Così, poi 2, 3, 4, 5. Sì, non c'è ancora Francesco. Calabrò. No.
C'è la wifi?
No.
Ci sono, Diana.
Ah, eccoti. Ciao Francesco, buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Ben trovata.
Hi, buongiorno. Non ti avevo riconosciuto.
Ero in incognito.
Hello. Ciao Francesco.
Ciao Cristina.
Quindi è anche lui online.
Sì, sì, sì.
Ah? Non lo so.
Beh, possiamo iniziare. So, okay, so I think we can start perfectly on time. So welcome and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to introduce this first session of 2 sessions of evaluating linear area potential. This is the workshop we are organizing this year, but it is the 3rd year. And so first of all, I would like to thank the co-organizers, Professor Alice Barreca, Giorgia Malavasi, and Manuela Rebaudengo, that is not here, but she's going to connect and present with me. So we have, first of all, a change of the program, with which the first presentation with the 4th one. So thank you, Marta, for your availability. And I would also to underline that these workshops was launched 3 years ago in the context of a print project, Branding for Resilience. So 3 years ago, the presentations were almost concentrated on that topic, and it began as a stage for disseminate the project, but it grew up, and so I leave the ground to Alice.
Yes, so I call Marta for the first presentation. Mapping vulnerability of industrial heritage for adaptive reuse, special multi-criteria analysis approach.
Okay. Questo. Excuse me. It's okay. Like online people can see the screen.
No.
Could you please assist us? Yes,
Yeah, I think it should be this one. You can try this.
Okay.
Okay. You
Okay,
can also
okay.
Yeah.
I can understand Turkish, so
Okay.
okay, perfect.
It's better to put it
Yes,
on
yes,
a
I know.
slideshow.
Oh, it's okay. Lo vediamo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so good morning everyone, and thank you very much for having me here in this session. And actually I'm going to present a research that is a part of a PRIM, so it's completely connected with the presentation that you just recently mentioned. Okay, so as you can see from this first slide, this is a joint research with other scholars from my department, and actually it's a multidisciplinary work. So we are working with people that is more involved in the preservation of the architecture and also with the urbanism and the landscape architecture. And in detail, this part of the research has been deeply developed by John Callan, that was a master's student. So this is a kind of initial phase of the research that has been supported also by the support of some students, some interns that are giving us the possibility of experimenting with some new methodologies. This is the outline, so I'm going to give you the context of the research, and then I'm going to explain you the methodology that is going to be applied on a specific case study. It is a little bit different from the paper that I presented, because over here I'm going to show you the application, because in the meanwhile we have done also an application, so I'm going to show you the first the preliminary result. So this is just to give you the context. So this is the PRIM project that has been funded by the European Union Next Generation EU. So the name is Planets, Production Landscape through Energy Transition, Industrial Heritage Preservation, Socio-Political Processes, and Potentially Using Lombardy, Sardinia, and Calabria. Because actually it is a project that is as supervisor, Oana that's from Politecnico of Milano, Valentina Pintos from the University of Cagliari, and then Nino Sufalla that's from the University of Reggio Calabria. So we are analyzing the concept of industrial heritage according to the different contexts and the different regions that actually are going to be our support. So actually this is completely different. So I'm going to focus now on the case study of the Lombardy region, but at the end of the print that actually is going to be this year, we are going to have an overall picture of the Italian context and how the industrial heritage are actually developed and have their own life in the different regions. This is just to give you the idea of also the topic of this research. So we are going to focus on understanding a methodological approach on two different levels. So we are going to work on the territorial level and the building level in order to understand, first of all, which are the attractiveness of the areas, so the potential strategies for redeveloping new buildings, so the kind of priority in order to be redeveloped, and then also understanding which is the most coherent scenario for the adaptive use of those kind of buildings. So we are going to focus on a specific case study that is located in the northern part of the Lombardy region. It's nearby the river Olona, and is within the Olona Valley. So there are several industrial buildings that actually change already their own life according to the energy transition. So from the mills, then they became also other kind of industry, and now actually most of them are going to be abandoned. So we are going to understand how we can support also the municipalities, the public administration, to understand which is the future of those kind of buildings. This is the flow chart. Is quite complex, so I was kind of challenging the students for understanding and exploring different methodologies. So as I told you, we are going to work on the territorial part, so with a spatial multi-criteria analysis. So we are going to have a framework for understanding the attractiveness of the territorial context by using a spatial multi-criteria analysis. And then we are experimenting, but this is very a preliminary research framework for understanding the scenario for the adaptive reuse of a building. So this is a first exploratory application. So you will see that we are going to experiment both the spatial multiplicative analysis and then the social multiplicative evaluation, that is the Socrates method that has been developed by Giuseppe Munda. This is how the framework actually is being developed. This is for the part for what concerns the territorial part, so for understanding which are the criteria that are coherent in the context of the industrial heritage for analyzing the attractiveness and the potential of urban level context. So we've been working by analyzing the literature review. Of course, since it is a very multidisciplinary approach, and this is also a multidimensional topic, we focus already the analysis by doing the literature review on the topic of the multi-criteria evaluation and multi-value attribute theory, because we knew already that there were conflictual values to take into consideration and also different actors to take into consideration. So that is why we've been already filtering. That was a kind of initial umbrella under which we then developed several other research within the Scopus database. And then also together with this phase, we developed, so these are the most important thematic issues that came out from the analysis. And then together with the literature review, in order to have a consistent and robust set of criteria, we also analyzed similar case studies compared to the Olona Valley. So the idea is that there is going to be a kind of an infrastructure that is connecting several buildings. It could be a blue infrastructure, a green infrastructure, or a gray infrastructure, because sometimes it also is the railway system. And then there are different complexes that change their own initial use and the initial function. So we have the case of the Norrbotten in Sweden, we have some cases in Germany, UK, and Spain. We also moved and also we select not only according to this connection, but also according to the dimension, because Varese is, the Olona Valley is connecting several cities. So we could not focus on a specific case study, but on a multiple cases. So this is just how we've been analyzing. So we've been analyzing the different case studies according to the year of construction, the size, the developer, and also we've been also focusing in understanding the new project if it's been funded by a private or a public body. So this was also important for us for understanding how we can approach our project, for understanding if the public administration by themselves can afford this kind of intervention, or there is a need also of a private investment. So this is also the different, this is something also you can appreciate from the paper. So these are how we've been analyzing the different case study. Then moving on, this is the, let's say, the methodological approach. So what I showed you before was more a flow chart for understanding the different phases of the research. Over here is more about which methodology we've been applying. As you can see, it's not a linear process, but it's very circular and iterative, because during the phases of the research, we had some issue for the, especially for a matter of data availability. So we had to review several times the framework, and also we have the opportunity, since this is a research that is within the context of the CRIN, we have the possibility of doing some survey, we had the possibility of having some workshops with the different administration. So we had the opportunity to validate the criteria with them. So that is why we had to sometimes review the framework and to change also our scenario that we proposed. This is the context. As you can see, this is the Olona River and this is the Olona Valley. It is moving and is crossing several contexts and several cities, from Varese to Milano, and several small municipalities. Each municipality has its own characteristics. So that is why it was quite difficult to have an interaction with the different measure of the cities, different administration. And our idea is to have not only a work and a project that is working on a building scale, but understanding how the whole infrastructure, the whole, we call it actually constellation, can work together. So that is the idea of working on several levels. Of course, maybe is missing, this is a kind of something that I'm anticipating my limits of the research. Of course, I think it's kind of missing a intermediate level of analysis, because we are working on a these kind of territorial context and then building. So I think that is missing maybe the communication between the two levels, and this is something that we are facing and we are trying to improve now. These are all the different industries that are located in the Olona Valley. Some of them have been demolished, some of them have been transformed. This is just to give you an idea about how the territorial context change and also the socio-demographic condition of population change. Because of course, before there were mainly people that were living there, that were working in the industry. Then of course, according to the changes that have been done in the building itself, and then also the socio-demographic condition change, because as you can see, it's very close to Milano, so people move there also for having a connection to the city, and so they are kind of moving them to Milano for a working reason. So as you can see here, these are also the differentiation of the different industry. There is food production, leather, paper, energy. So there are different kind of contexts that we are facing, and as you can imagine, it's quite complex, the decision-making process. These are all the analysis that we made also for understanding how are the different municipalities crossed by the Olona River, also for understanding how and which are the criticalities that maybe we can face by analyzing the context itself. And then over here is a focus on the methodological approach that has been developed. This is for the territorial level. So this is a kind of very robust, but actually is a classic methodology that is used for spatial multiplicative evaluation. So we have an intelligence phase where we are analyzing the context and defining the criteria. Then we have the standardization and the weights assignment, and then we have the combination of the different layers in order to have the final output, that is our attractiveness map index. Here you can see the different criteria that have been, first of all, analyzed before the filter phase. So the filter, as I told you, has been based on data availability, discussion with the stakeholders, and also we use the literature review and the case studies for understanding the most frequent, the most coherent according to our context. I will go fast. So this is the process for analyzing the different criteria. So this, as you can imagine, it is we use the GIS software. So these are the different phases. So we have the source map, that is the primary data that we are collecting from the official geoportal. Sometimes we have to combine several data from also different database. So this is the initial data level. Then we move to the criterion map, that is already a first elaboration of the data that have been elaborated according to the most coherent operation. That could be the Euclidean distance, or maybe it could be the density or their classification. And then according to a standardization process, we move from a criterion map to a value map. So to each buffer, we assign a value according to the standardization. That could be linear, increasing, decreasing, or can have different shape. And the value function has been developed together with the expert after kind of initial our proposal based on literature review, or maybe some specific requirements given by the Italian context. I'm going just to show you some maps. So as you can see, these are one for each operation. So the Euclidean distance, so it's actually made according to the proximity to the specific data that we are analyzing. In this case, is public transit. Density is the concentration of the specific data. So as you can see, in this case, it's cultural heritage sites. Also, the operation that we selected is coherent with the data, is coherent according to the literature review analyzed. Then we have the kernel density, and then we have also the reclassification in case there is a data that has already some classes, and then the classes has been changed according to the value. This is the overlay. In this moment, we use a neutral scenario, so we assign the same weights to the different criteria. So these are the different clusters. So we have a dimension that is for the culture, one for its governance and social services, one is more economic and technological, and then environmental. And this is our final map of, let's say, attractiveness. It is combining, as I told you, according to a neutral scenario, the different maps. So we didn't, in this case, this is also a limit, we didn't approach with the sensitivity analysis, so we did not change the weights. This is just an initial idea for just doing, let's say, a trial first test. And then for each industrial sites, actually, we can give also a score according to the partial results and to the final results in order to understand which is the building that has a higher priority in order to be maybe change the actual use, or maybe could be more attractive to be changed, and maybe can also generate kind of also potential strategies and potential renovation for the whole context. We selected then one specific building. I will go fast just to show you the final results. That is Cartiera Vita Meyer, that actually has been abandoned for its existent use in 1977. And we applied this methodology for analyzing the different scenarios that have been developed together with the public administration with some experts. So we moved from a performative analysis, so based on a technical approach, so based on performances, real performances, quantitative and qualitative, of a framework that has been taken from another research. So we did not develop a new framework for this phase, but we took a framework that was already used in another research. And then we applied the social multiplicative evaluation only for the equity matrix, so only for understanding the opinion of the different experts. These are the case studies. This is actually industrial site that is composed by different blocks, by different buildings. It's very complex, so maybe the idea could be also the combination of different scenarios of different options. These are the options that came out with the interaction with the stakeholders. So we have a Eco Innovation Hub, a wellness retreatment, mixed use, that actually is very maybe coherent according to the different buildings. And this one is something that actually is being proposed by the public administration. So this is the technical part. So for each criterion, we've been analyzing the real performance that could be, as I told you, quantitative or qualitative. The performances are based on a framework that is divided in on-site, so specific characteristics of the building, and off-site, how the option can interact with the overall context. And then this is the opinion given by the different actors. As you can see, the social multiplicative evaluation is working on a qualitative scale. So the actor, according to the scenario, can elicit its own opinion according to if the expert likes or not the scenario and how much, according to 7 levels. The maximum is, I think, very good, then there is very good, good, neutral, so on and so forth. I will go fast, sorry. It's missing. Okay, so this is the, no, where is the, okay, sorry, I moved the slide after. So these are the results. Actually, we found a coherence between the performative part, the technical, and the social part. But this is not, let's say, the output of the research. So this is not what we would like to demonstrate that the result is good or not. What we would like to show is how an approach can have a kind of possibility for interacting and starting to open a possible discussion, because by working with the social analysis and the social multiplicative evaluation, sometimes it is important to understand which are the conflictual values that are in play. So it is important to understand if there are some actors that are different opinion, and then we can start our own discussion and starting to find a common agreement for a possible new scenario. And the idea is also to show to the different public administration how the different buildings works together in order to give a possibility to the overall context and not only focusing on a specific context, because otherwise we are not solving the overall picture. So these are kind of conclusion, but I think that I already mentioned most of them during my last talk. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Marta. So, are there any questions or comments in the audience or online?
Thank you for your great presentation and your interesting research topic, which is about the adaptive reuse of heritage, industrial heritage. I like your presentation. Could you please a little bit further clarify about the fact that how do you involve the expert judgment for the prioritization
You mean for the social multiplicative evaluation?
Yeah, during your data collection, are there any specific participants for your experts or not?
We interact with the expert, and then we also interact with the public administration in different phases. So, the public administration has been a very important support for analyzing the context and understanding which are the needs for the redevelopment and also for changing the actual use of the different buildings. So we've been starting the interaction immediately before having this idea of the methodology of what we would like to do. Then also, so they supported us in validating the criteria for the framework that I showed you before, the territorial level. So we had done several workshops also for understanding how to create the different cluster. So we had a list of criteria. We had 3 rounds actually of workshop for validating the framework. After that, we had an interaction with the public administration and expert for shaping the scenarios, so for understanding which are the new scenarios that could be the future of the Vita Meyer. And this has been done also according to several structured interview. So it was not only an open and public workshop, but we have done several one-to-one interview for understanding actually what they would like to do in the project, And we have been working also with the technical part of the public administration, so the technical office that is actually more focused on the real characteristics and needs of this building. And then for what concerns the social multiplicative evaluation, we show the scenarios. So this is how usually it's working, the social multiplicative evaluation. So we are going to explain and show the differences of the scenarios by also showing the performances for each criterion. And then they express, they are going to elicit their own opinion based on a 7-level scale that I showed you before. And we show the scenarios according to, we also produce some kind of images in order to give the idea of what could be the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any questions or? It's okay. So thank you, Marta. Thank you. So we can move to the next presentation. So Valeria.
Yeah, firstly, stop the last presentation.
Ah, no, aspetta.
Firstly, you should stop the previous one by you. Yeah, the blue one.
Ah,
Yeah.
but we can
Yeah.
share the
And
screen,
share-
so
Yeah, share it again, the new screen. You can, okay.
in here.
Yeah.
We can share the screen. So
yeah.
that no, please, this one. It's okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Now I think you should go to the PowerPoint
Okay. Okay.
and slideshow.
Okay. So, renewable energy commuting is a tool for a just green transition in inner areas, a pilot project in Sardinia, Italy. So, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This research was developed by a research team from the University of Cagliari, composed of my colleagues, Ivan Blecic, Alessandro Carus, Eleonora Conjo, and Giuseppe De Sovus. It brings together different expertise from urban planning to policy evaluation, architecture, and energy system. The background and objective of this research are synthesized in this slide. Around the world, the problem ensuring the affordable and sustainable energy remain a pressing challenge. And it's not a simple technical matter, but it has an implication for economic development, environmental sustainability, and social equity. In response to this challenge, renewable energy communities have emerged as a transformative model, and because these communities empower local actors and support the decentralization of energies system, and they are especially useful or promising in rural and peripheral disadvantaged regions, such as the so-called Italian inner areas. Our research proposed a methodological framework to support the design of renewable energy communities, particularly in these fragile territories. And it is based on a multi-scenario simulation that model that allows us to analyze energy flow, financial performance, and so to have evidence-based information for planning and decision making. To test this methodology, this approach, this tool, we applied it to a case study in a small municipality in Sardinia that exemplified the challenges and opportunities found in inner areas. Inner areas are territories that are characterized by lower level of development, weaker access to essential service compared to more central or urbanized region. And over time, these areas have experienced significant depopulation and economic decline. In response, the Italian government launched the national strategy for inner areas, aiming to enhance development, resilience, and territorial cohesion through these territories. But despite this effort, one issue remains critical unaddressed: energy poverty. That is the inability to access to or afford energy services such as heating, cooling, or electricity without compromising other basic services. And it is a complex and multidimensional problem closely linked to income level, building quality, and energy market access. In particular, energy poverty in inner areas is critical for a combination of several factors. The geographic isolation and limited infrastructure, poor access to competitive energy markets, and old and energy inefficient building stock, and from a socio-economic point of view, the low income level. And this condition must be addressed in line with the international and European policy framework because they call for a territorially balanced and inclusive energy transition. The decentralized and community-driven renewable energy solution can be a solution because they can enhance local autonomy, reduce dependency on external providers, and drive economic growth, and also, most importantly, empower local actors. In this context, renewable energy communities can be considered a useful tool for inner areas. In Italy, in recent years, especially after the new national rule were introduced by the government, these communities grow quickly, but currently most are still in the early stage. Either are planned, set up, or waiting activation. Only about 80% of are fully operational, and only a very small number of tests are located in inner areas. Regarding Sardinia region, the number is even more telling. There are around 13 renewable energy communities across the region, and only 4 are active. And of these, only 3 are in are areas classified as peripheral under Italy's national strategy for inner areas. This gap clearly highlights a missed opportunity and a critical need. So we must focus greater attention and targeted efforts on promoting RECs within these territories. The collaboration in the development of a REC in a municipality of Simala offered a valuable opportunity to test and refine a model useful to assess the feasibility and the potential benefit of RECs in areas. Simula is not formally indicated as inner area, but is share many of the problems that are similar, common in this context. The REC or Simala was led by the municipality that also involved the University of Cagliari to support the community engagement process. And at the same time, the research group developed a simulator to assess the project's potential and explore future development. The municipality play a key role both as a promoter and active member operating in 2 capacities. First, as a producer by installing a photovoltaic system on the roof of an abandoned public building, and second, as a consumer by using the part of generated energy to power various municipal buildings. The key step of this project are this. The first, a series of public meetings an interview with potential local residents and potential members of the community were conducted to encourage their active participation in the initiative. Second, a detailed information on potential energy production and real consumption by potential member are collected, also energy prices and potential incentives. And finally, a simulation tool was employed to evaluate various REC scenario or configuration, analyzing both energy balances and economic outcome in order to support informed decision making. Regarding engagement, despite the initial interest, only 23 citizens were ultimately identified as potential REC member. And this is one of the main criticisms, because the low participation in REC project remain one of the major challenges due to the combination of various factors such as limited awareness, lack of technical knowledge, and concerns about cost and administration complexity. Regarding the multi-scenario simulator, the tool we develop is specifically designed to evaluate different configuration of REC, to evaluate the best performance in terms of energy flow and financial outcome, and so evaluate different design choices. And the input data are different, starting from the number of potential REC member distinguished by category, and energy demand for REC member, technical data or on photovoltaic, in this case, system, and battery energy storage system, also the prices of energy, and so. The simulator is regarding energy production, perform an hourly simulation of gay energy flow matrix to capture the detailed dynamics of energy generation, self-consumption, surplus, and potential sharing with the communities. This is a schematic exemplification. And regarding the cost and revenues, we evaluated several financial aspects to the project life cycle, including capital expenditure, energy, as well or maintenance cost, potential revenues from shared energy and incentives. All this calculation were carried out under different simulation scenario, each based on various assumptions regarding energy demand, system size, economic parameters, and community participation model. One, the first was the real scenario grounded in actual consumption data and system characteristics provided by local stakeholders. And so the other scenario are designed with a calculation of the potential member derived from energy calculation that are aimed to optimize the maximum, the shareable energy. So an incremental scenario, an expanded scenario, and so an ideal scenario that are defined doubling the photovoltaic capacity. The results are this slide show the output of the simulated scenario, and for a full detail inside, we refer to the paper. The results allows us to draw some preliminary consideration. Energy sharing improve with more members. As the number of REC members increase, the percentage of self-consumed shared energy also increases. So an interpretation is that a broader membership base improve energy matching and reduce surplus into the grid and low values. Economic return for members decreases with the scale, while total revenues grow with more members. Net benefit per member decreases slightly. And the interpretation is that economic performance is optimal when both the energy community size and the production capacity grow in parallel. But one interesting an interesting consideration can be this. And so we think that the first scenario that doubling the photovoltaic capacity and so the number of members are defined by this calculation led to a final reflection about the potential of to establish the inter-municipal RECs, particularly within inner areas. Already this happen for other services like public transport or waste collection. And among this potential, first, resource optimization by sharing energy production from system distributed across multiple municipalities, we can achieve a better balance between production and consumption thanks to the diversity of local energy profile. And second, greater scale and economic sustainability. Pooling a large number of users increase the efficiency and the financial viability of project, it also allows municipality to share both capital investment and operational costs. And third, territorial inclusion and solidarity. Larger or more advanced municipality can support a smaller and more fragile one. This fosters broader participation from citizens and businesses, even in areas. And fourth, strengthening local governance, collaboration between local administration, promote integrated planning, and create synergies, institutional, technical, but also social, at the territorial level. And finally, reduction of energy poverty, because by extending the benefit of renewable energy to more vulnerable population in peripheral areas, we can make the energy transition more just and inclusive. This means obviously enhance the tool and with the new feature, and so, for example, to capture intermunicipal dynamics and evaluated the benefits of shared infrastructure and support the design of territorial energy network that extend behind individual municipality. I conclude. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Valeria. So, are there any comments or questions from the audience or online?
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Yes, no, I waited for the audience, but as chair, try to prepare with the question. I'm curious about how do you think if it is possible that threats can stop or influence in a positive way the underuse of building and decay of buildings in these areas?
This is a potential that, in my opinion, is strictly connected to the incentives that the public economic resources are fundamental for this kind of transformation process. So public and but also public-private collaboration for this improvement can be a potential strategy. Yeah, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valeria. Okay. Introduci tu. Okay, so we can now leave the floor to the third presentation. So Cristina Coscia, decision-making CIA process to support SNAI strategy, the case of Castelluccio Inferiore in Basilicata, Italy. So you have 15 minutes to leave some minutes for the debate. You can share your screen, Cristina.
Yes, I try because I don't know. Yes, I don't know because I it's a problem for.
No, I think you can see.
I try, I saw. Facciamo così. Do you no? I don't know because no.
No.
Non riesco. Sfida fine. Okay. It's okay?
Yes, we can see your presentation now.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thanks to the organizer for this rich session. Introduce myself. I'm Cristina Koch, Associate Professor of Real Estate Appraisal at the Polytechnic of Turin, Department of Architecture and Design. And I'll illustrate the multidisciplinary contribution dated by Kosha, Gron, and Vercellino. The contribution incorporates some of the keywords, those highlighted in red of the workshop, linked to specific for keywords, the contributions, SNAI, Community Impact Analysis, REC, Basilicata region. So I'll divide the discussion into 4 parts, highlighting this index scheme, but I illustrate in the presentation. So first of all, I start from the contextual background, regulatory and political, and then from the research background. The paper starts from the state of art of a national, the SNAI policy, and the objective of indicating strategic development lines for a specific area of the Basilica region, with the proposal of a robust methodology to support the decision. The focus on the territory of the Basilicata region is due to the fact that the research group, Kosha, Gron, and Vercellino, has signed a protocol of intent and research with the municipality of Castelluccio, which has requested expert support for the next planning of intervention. The SNAI team is very dense. Some reference microdata. The area under observation falls within the 2014-2020 SNAI cycle of Basilicata region, which is developed on 4 axes: Alto Bradano, Montagna Materana, Marmo Platano, and Mercure Alto Sini is the focus area, formed by the aggregation of 42 municipalities. There are the first programming indicate 2 priority to counter the traditional gap of internal area. The adjustment of quality, quantity, and supply for the services, quindi quality of life, and the second priority, the activation of local development project. This is the synthesis of the financial resource. So the focus area is investigate in the second phase as a seen a modification. So there are another program planning. Another primary is STI, Integrated Territorial Strategies. In this case, phase is important the change of perimeter of the area of the focus area. 3 pillars that fueled the request for a specific approach: SNAI, REC, but some not in detail, generative economy, and principle. 3 pillars linked 3 main research questions. The first question: is possible to configure processes with territorial identities? Can public administration be supported in identify innovation triggering processes able to produce new opportunities? And in Basilicata, and particularly in MASV, in Mercure area, with the team and resource could build a relationship between population, institution, and territory. So the methodological framework, quindi the MACHA framework, intends to provide elements and methods to answer this question. The methodological proposal is summarizing this concept that represent the research framework, namely the MACHA approach, a multi-phase process to support the decision-making of the public administration involved in the SNAI and responsible for financing, but which must act and generate multidimensional impact. It's important I focalize quindi, the methodological framework is articulated in 5 five phase, but is important. There are two integrated processes: strategic assessment process and a strategic civic engagement process to co-design. Methodological framework. The acronym partly reveals the theoretical basis and the method inspired by CIE, Chia Litchfield method, but reinterpreted in particular for phase 0, 2, and 3. Since supporting assessment process and step-based process of stakeholders consultation. So, very short presentation, but phase 0, definition and objective. Phase 1, analysis of a competitive framework and structure the problem and data collection, knowledge construction activities with the results by SWOT analysis, and the first consultation with the communities, but communities stakeholder group, Fox group, Delphi, and so. Phase 2, the element of the system, individuating the effect and translated in impact, and classify the community interest group. Phase 3, the decisional design, and phase 4, analysis and evaluation, the preferable scenario. So, the focus area. Why this choice a pilot area? The municipality of Castelluccio Inferiore is one of 21 municipalities that constitute the Mercure area. With the new classification, Castelluccio is considered ultra peripheral due to the continuous population decline, estimate minus 10%, and is important because the current condition of the municipality of Castelluccio Inferiore is typical of a municipality that is experiences the population dynamics. In first programming of public administration, the municipality adopted a program to knit together intention with the tourism, culture, major event enhancement project, and the energy theme. Is important to highlight one aspect, because regarding manufacturing sites, the Borgo dei Mulini near the historic center is where the old manufacturing buildings are located. Considered one of best preserved mills and factory in Lucania, Apennines, the enhancement of the complex involved the architectural recovery of the old spinning mill. Unfortunately, upon completion of the wall, the building without a specific part use, some soon become isolated from this context. So, results the matcha process application on focus area. Phase 0, the Chia method, guided the structuring of the strategic element. This is the goal. For example, macro goal, contextualization, innovation, valorization, and so. And the bottom right, the bottom-up process articulated in site and articulated element of system. And so this population will articulate in a group of Litchfield perspective. There are in this extended scope is a specific scope of the focus area. So phase 1, analysis of the competitive framework and strategic evaluation. There are some extract of these results of this phase, but it is important the identification of intervention area, because in Chia method is very important. The multiple level area, because there are the site area, Castelluccio, and off-site area, expanded area. And in this phase, there are many aspects for the system, and there are the involvement of the community for this element. So it's very dense for this phase too, but I illustrate some main aspect. For example, in this phase is very important because it's too complex, but strategic application, because there are the identification public and private stakeholder, private stakeholder operation on side, private stakeholder operation on side, but there are also analysis of side and off side, and this is all stakeholder group by CIA method linked to main objective identify in phase 0 and phase 1, and to articulate with the element of the territorial system. In phase 3 is the construction, the design of scenarios. The slide show only one of two scenarios, because with the involvement, civic engagement of population, with the focus group and other method and tools, the results is two perspective different. The perspective process bottom up, the perspective top down scenario. In this slide there are only bottom up, never explored before by the public administration, on which the support of a researcher group of Polytechnic of Turin was requested in particular, where the establishment of a REC was strategical and preliminary planning.
You have two minutes to conclude.
Yes, I very very short. The final results is the phase 4, analysis and evaluation of the impact of the scenario. In this case, there are the taxonomy of CIA method. In particular, there are the qualitative evaluation, but very important to support for the engagement and for the final public debate. There are the results for the bottom-up process and top-down. The bottom-up is very the winner, because there are more effect positive for more stakeholder, and for all impact indicated by Litchfield: financial, tax, economy, social, cultural, environmental. So highlight 4 pivotal elements is for 3 macro area: governance, heritage, and people. Governance, the role of public, but considered to a fundamental importance in each of a scenario, but with the engagement process, civic engagement process. Heritage concern heritage and the relationship of energy communities, bottom-up awareness raising process on heritage, and people and citizen energy community in future. Conclusion in a relationship to three research question. It's possible to configure processor? Yes, because the territorial identities in a scenario bottom up focus on identity-based process in the area. For 2, the gap to identify and different transformation trajectory in different contexts. And finally, in bottom-up community involvement in continuous interaction with the public administration, supporting collaboration. The future development, I think the final scenario may provide the community a new starting point. Quindi is the new first phase for the decision making. The tools and method is a pilot process, but is possible to integrate a consultation method, for example, Delphi method, and the strategic phase supporting the future operational phase, and the subsequent transition also exploiting more quantitative and monetary basis assessment tool. Thank you very much, references and so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cristina. And so are there any questions or comments from the audience?
Hello, Cristina. Okay. So mine is just a curiosity about your approach. From the presentation, it's not very clear how the REC is included in the CIA. So did you evaluate also the social impact of the renewable energy community, and how have you included the REC into the method? Because it is not very clear also from the indicators.
Yes, thank you very much, Georgia. The REC is also suggestion in this phase, because is a process decision making for the restart process, because in first program is not clear to the line of strategic scenarios, and for this thanks for this approach. Is clear some either public administration and either citizen the very important significance of REC, but is not evaluation REC, because there are the element for this. This is the first phase, strategical, the first strategical process, because is not clear in Castelluccio the elements and the positive elements and negative elements. The main theme is energy in first programming, but is not clear why. Why and why introduced in scenarios. Quindi this phase is design scenario REC in scenario in physical, because my colleague is projectual architect, and in this phase is put in the physical possibility to REC.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. That's it. So other questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we can pass to the next paper. This is a paper that we brought together with also Manuela Baudengo, that is online. The presenter will be Professor Diana Rolando and Manuela Baudengo, and they will talk about data-driven AI approach to address territorial strategies while investing in agri-food sector to enhance the diversity in the area.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I'm very pleased to present this research carried out with my colleague Diana Rolando, Alicia Reca, and Giorgia Malavasi from Politecnico di Torino. Please, Diana, go on with the slides. Thank you. So the outline shows that this presentation is divided into five parts. First, a briefly introduction, and then I will move to the methodological approach that we designed and applied to a case study, that is Valsesia Inner Area. As results, we provide recommendation for optimizing the SNAI strategies definition. And as conclusion, we will show that how academia can support local authorities in defining new local strategies. The next, please. So to overcome inner areas challenges and defining new enhancement strategies, artificial intelligence can switch from a traditional click please, from a traditional approach to an
sorry.
innovative approach. Um, Okay, thank you so much. Helping expert to not the previous, please. It's
C'è il
difficult.
ritardo, sorry, there's a
Yeah.
bit of a delay. Okay.
Yes, to help expert to manage a large data set, extracting insights, and to formulate evidence-based strategies for a local territorial enhancement. The next, please. This slide will show that this research is a part of a larger project called B4R, Branding for Resilience, that investigated the potential of branding in inner areas. B4R started in the 2020, involving 4 university, and aiming to define new local strategies for 4 inner areas, different inner areas, in different regional context. During before our development phase, our focus areas was identified also as a new SNAI area in the second programming cycle, jointly with Biellese Orientale, Mountain Union, and also Baraggia Mountain Union, for a total of 50,000 inhabitants and 36 municipalities. So the aim of the research is to design and apply a data-driven AI approach to that can start from past learned experiences. Another click, please, to identify key strategic actions and key investment patterns important for the shaping of the local strategies. This is not, in this case, we have focused on a specific thematic focus group that is agri-food sector, but it's a replicable methodological approach that can be applied also in other decisional context to support the local stakeholder in the decision-making process and to optimize the funds allocation. The next, please. So moving to the methodological approach, you can see in this slide that it is divided into 5 main phases. First of all, the goal definition, then data collection, data analysis, results interpretation, and finally the strategic output. It's like a funnel in this figure. Because we start from a larger data set and we define suggested action that are limited but just fitted to the areas. At first, for the goal definition, we selected specific case studies and then we combined data-driven analysis and listening and debate with the stakeholder for the identification of strategic gaps and strategic priorities for new action proposals. The next step is also important, that is data collection and data set import that we can do after the selection of lacking thematic scopes. And in this case, we can collect data from previously funded project or using, as we did, validated open dataset, open national dataset. The next step is the thematic and financial data analysis that integrating existing technologies in the field of project management, data analysis, and artificial intelligence can lead to a general understanding of the variables, for example, defining the number of funded projects or the related amount both in public public terms of funds or private terms of funds. And then also we can do also thematic grouping, moving to a deeper understanding of a specific selected sector, that with the use of latent dirichlet allocation and text mining techniques, we can define common investment themes and identify also the main employed strategies. Moving from results interpretation, we can have suggestion of strategic visions, suggestion of actions, and also suggestion on optimization of resource allocation. The design strategic output is a report, a technical report containing a territorial roadmap through a new local enhancement, key strategic action, and the funding allocation. And this output in our method needs to be shared with the local stakeholders in all the process of the strategy identification. As mentioned before, our case studies was the Valsesia SNAI strategy definition process, consisting in a double round of 6 focus groups, thematic focus groups. We focused in particular on agri-food chains and rural development sector, using as past experiences the Open Coesione database.
Okay, thank you, Manuela. So the data-driven analysis and the dialogue with the local actors of the Valsesia territory and all the stakeholders highlighted the key challenges and opportunities related to 2 thematic scopes, which in the past have been less considered in the Piedmont region. So the first thematic scope is this one, competitiveness of companies, that includes financial programming tools, traditional business support measures, and program contacts. The second one is this research and innovations that include funding for companies and funding for university. Starting from these 2 thematic scopes, we extracted from the Open Coesione project's dataset 2 these different datasets consisting of more than 30,000 records in the first case and more than 10,000 records in the second phase. And this is very important to highlight that the Open Coesione project is an open source database, so very useful for all Italian in their areas. So we try to experiment some methodologies and AI to use this very challenging data set, but very, very large. So let's see how. And the first and the second data set were both analyzed with the AI support to extract just results related to the agri-food chains and the rural development sector, as Manuela mentioned, was our topic. So the first analysis critically examined and cross-referenced some variables such as categories, typologies, costs, and funding, while the second analysis focused on the detailed descriptions of its projects, identifying the key strategic actions used to develop and or enhance the agri-food chains and rural development sectors, along with the related public and private funding. This is the core of the second analysis. So let's see the results. This graph shows the distribution of the number of interventions by type and their related average values. We just highlight in these presentations the 4 main typologies, but in the paper you can find also the other one. So I can highlight the 44% for the new construction typology, 26% for the so-called other typology, a bit mysterious, but are categories from the data set, so it's not up to us defining them. And 8% in modernizations and 7% expansions. So our percentage related to the total program interventions. It's interesting to underline that the remaining part, about the 15%, is divided into 24 typologies, so quite a lot. In terms of total public fundings, the three categories, so other, new constructions and expansions account for approximately 75% of the total allocations, leaving 25% for the remaining typology. And notable physical interventions on buildings or new constructions account for the majority of projects. They represent only a third of the total funded projects. So this is another key aspects to be underlined. Regarding the research and innovations and analyzing the number of interventions by type and the related average value, there are three main typologies. 40% for research activities, 32% for research projects, and 22% for other typologies. In terms of total public funding, the same three categories account for approximately 88% of the total allocation, leaves just over 10% for the remaining typologies. So physical buildings interventions do not dominate either in terms of funding or the numbers of interventions. Instead, the fund have been primarily directed towards research projects and the purchase of equipment. The second analysis we performed highlight that based on the themes identified through the topic modeling with LDA, latent district allocations, 5 main key strategic actions emerged from the enhancement and development of the agri-food chains and rural development sectors. So are listed in here, and they represent very interesting directions to be proposed or to support the debate with the local actors. But I have no time to deep more than this. So, but it's interesting analyzing the aggregated public and private funding for each key strategies reveals that the majority of the funds have been concentrated in technological innovation and digitalizations and circular economy and food waste reductions, with a predominant share coming from public funding. And in contrast, the funding allocating on the other key strategies, so sustainability and organic farming, development of short supply chains and local markets, and promotion of typical products and made in Italy, appears to be significantly more limited. It's quite evident from these graphs. So moving to the other thematic scope, research and innovations, LDA highlighted 3 main key strategies, strategic actions in this case, so production, optimization, sustainability, product development, market expansions, and technology integrations and food safety. In this case, analyzing the aggregated public and private funding for each ICCSA reveals that the most significant investments are directed towards production optimizations and sustainability and product development and market expansions. Notably, private funding plays a dominant role in product development and market expansions, highlighting strong market-driven interest in this field. So to conclude, first of all, it's important to underline that within the Before research project, we experiment this collaboration-based approach, and this not only enable a meaningful knowledge exchange with local actors that is still ongoing, but also provided a contribution for a territorial engagement formulation in the real SNAI strategy formulation process that is an ongoing process. And the two thematic scopes we identify, there are key variables that were not directly accessible through the existing database, but with the support of the AI, we highlighted and extracted some interesting content that allow us to debate and continue the co-visioning phase of our project. So we can assume that academia can somehow contribute to the strategy shaping process, not only in Valsesia, but basically can be repeated and also replicated in other concepts. And some valuable lessons for other inner areas. So we hope that facing similar challenges can contribute to a more strategic and impact-oriented approach to regional policy design. So thank you for your attention. Questions or curiosity? Could you please come here so that the online people, I'm sorry, but we know that online they can't hear you.
My question is a simple question that, okay, so you have talked about data-driven AI, so I wonder in which environment do you model these data? So Python, MATLAB, or maybe?
No, we use Pivot in Excel and combine with AI, so ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
Tools, yes, we integrated them in both analysis. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? No? Okay, so thank you. We can move to the last presentation. So, Francesco, you are.
Can you hear us,
Francesco?
Calabra? Yes, yes.
Okay, let's see.
I'm here.
Okay, so under tourism and destinations management in the inner areas, the case of Locride, Reggio Calabria, you can share your screen.
You can see?
Perfect. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning to everybody. And special thanks to the chairs, Diana Rolando, Giorgia Malavasi, Manuela Rebaudengo, and Alicia Barreca for the invitation to this very interesting session. I introduce myself. My name is Francesco Calabro. I'm associated professor of real estate appraisal at Mediterranean University of Reggio Calabria. And this research was developed with Immacolata Lorè, Giovanna Minniti, and Rosa Maria Staropoli. This work illustrates the first result of an experimental activity conducted in a territory characterized by a strong peripherality, located in the southern part of Calabria. The study starts from an examination of the role of cultural heritage and tourism for the development of inner areas. Among the tools identified to promote the triggering of processes of touristic enhancement of cultural heritage, destination management organizations are identified whose characteristics are outlined, highlighting their functions in terms of strategic planning. After
Francesco, sorry, we can just see the first slide. So
yes, but I'm introducing the paper.
Sorry. I just think there was a problem.
No, thank you.
Sorry
thank you,
for interrupting you. Sorry.
No, thank you. After recalling the process in which this type of process is usually articulated and the fundamental role of evaluation, the territory object of the case study is framed, especially in relation to the relevance of its cultural heritage. The work concludes by illustrating the results of the first cognitive investigations conducted in the field through questionnaires administered to a group of tourist cultural operators. So, about inner areas, as you can well know, almost they represent more than 60% of the national surface area, over half of the municipalities, and approximately a quarter of the resident population. In terms of underutilized territorial capital, almost 4 out of 10 structures open to public are in these areas. Another reference of our paper is the ICMOS Charter for Cultural Heritage Tourism and its principle number 5, raise awareness and reinforce cultural heritage conservation. About the approach to organization of the tourism offer in literature, we can find 2 different approaches. One that looks first of all at the territory and its components, and is the we can say tourist districts. One that could be defined instead as demand-based and is the destination management organization. Which are the purposes of DMO. As you can read, the purpose of the DMOs are the coordinated management of all the elements that make up a destination: attractions, amenities, accessibility, human resources, image, and price, and so on. Instead, about the functions performed by a DMO, instead, Carter and Neville propose a distinction between 2 levels of functions: core functions that correspond to the first level of this list, and enabling functions that correspond to the second level. About strategic planning, we used the definition of by Albrecht that I think that strategic planning can be defined as a public sector-led process through which vision, actions, and means of implementation are formulated, shaping and framing what a place is and can become. And the scheme of a generic strategic plan you can see, but we concentrated about the phase of this process that is divided into 3 phases. The first, the cognitive; the second, the proposal phase; and the third, the implementation phase. In the transition from the cognitive phase to the proposal phase, the evaluation is necessary to understand the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, typical action of the SWOT analysis, but also what are the points of view of the stakeholders, and more generally of the community. The result of this first evaluation activity is the vector of the objectives of the plan based on the priority criterion. The next step is the selection of the actions based on the criteria of effectiveness, feasibility, and sustainability through both monetary and non-monetary evaluations. Once the proposal phase is concluded, it is possible to move on to the implementation of the strategic plan. During this phase, a constant monitoring action is carried out, which provides the information necessary for the ongoing evaluation. The outcome of this evaluation activity allows any corrections to be made to the plan. At the end of the planning cycle, it is necessary to draw up a balance of the path through the ex post evaluation. The results thus obtained will allow the start of a new programming cycle, which will be able to capitalize on the experience conducted previously. The entire process is accompanied by two types of transversal activities: research and development activities and community involvement, starting with stakeholders. Now we can pass to illustrate the case study that concerns the area of Locride in the Ionian South Calabria. In this area, 31 out of 42 municipalities are included among the inner areas. About cultural endowment, if we refer, for example, for the density of museums and similar structures in relation to the resident population, Calabria is slightly above the national average, with 2.8 institutions per 10,000 inhabitants compared to the Italian average of 2.7. Some months ago, 4 entities operating in the field of tourism services, digital solutions for companies, training and research, in this case was Mediterranean University of Reggio Calabria, have decided to start an experimental path aimed to the creation of a DMO of Locride. In February 2025, the 4 promoting entities started a preliminary cognitive phase aimed at identifying the enhancing cultural and natural resources, the stakeholders, the existing activities and services, the planning already expressed by the territory, the existing tourist flows and potential demand, and any benchmarks. Given the limited availability of information referring to levels of territorial aggregation lower than the region, the start of the knowledge activities consisted of audits with 16 private operators. From the interview, it was possible to obtain a first picture of the critical issue that hindered the tourist development of the territory. It is clear that the priority issue concerns transports in terms of accessibility to the area, but above all in terms of inner mobility, especially towards area far from the coast, as you can see. The data that is in some ways the most surprising is the self-criticism that entrepreneurs make. The most frequent answer concerns above all the difficulties in creating synergy, in dialoguing with operators from other sectors, such as food and wine producers, in operating by giving themselves medium long-term visions and horizons without privileging immediate results. This survey has therefore allowed us to define a provisional vector of strategic objectives, which will serve as a basis for comparison with other stakeholders and will guide subsequent knowledge gathering activities. Objectives are like build the products of the local destination, enrich the offer of complementary services, promote knowledge of the local destination, and so on. Next step, the cognitive activities for the establishment of the DMO of Locride have just begun. The results obtained from the responses of the interviewed operators constitute a starting point for the subsequent cognitive activities and will allow to start the comparison with the stakeholders and the involvement of the community. The outcome of this participatory process will allow to identify the real priority objectives of the strategic plan of the local destination, and subsequently to hypothesize the actions to be undertaken to be subjected to evaluation of effectiveness, feasibility, and sustainability. The research activities will concern in particular the evaluation tools, starting from the identification of the set of key performance indicators to be used for the purposes of the ex ante and ex post evaluation of the actions of the plan. In particular, the actions will concern product and experience development, destination marketing and sales, visitor and destination services, events development, skills development. And I ended.
Okay. So, I think you finished, Francesco?
Yes,
you
I finished.
Okay, thank you very much.
There are any questions for this presentation? If not, I have one. So to what extent can cultural heritage and identity narratives and storytelling serve as unifying drivers in these type of sparse territories, in your opinion?
Yes, I think that we
Thank
have.
you for the presentation. Sorry, I always forget, but it's very interesting. And my question is because we study in other inner areas the same, and we face the same problems and challenges. So this idea that the cultural heritage and maybe identity storytelling can be a link. Is an idea, of course, for us, but what do you think in your territories?
Yes, but we have to work a lot to change the storytelling about the Locride, because maybe you can know that Locride in the past was well known for negative question. And so we have to change this image through appropriate storytelling. And just in these days, we are working because there are a call of Calabria region for new products, touristic products. And so we are working just about the storytelling of this area.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Francesco.
So we conclude our session. Thank you for all the speakers and all the presentation were very interesting and face from different point of view the challenges that only inner areas has, but are common in all the territories. And we will wait you this afternoon because this workshop will continue with the other 4 presentation, and so we will see at 2 in the room here in the same room at 2. And in the meanwhile, we can continue also if you have question about the researches
during
coffee.
The coffee break.
Exactly. We will see the coffee
Okay.
break. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
See you.
Ciao.
Thank you very much.
Ciao a tutti. Grazie. Thank
Bye.
you. introduction for this. I leave.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you
Good
very
job,
much
thank
for
you.
your assistance. Very precious.
nice.
And also the question, so are you interested just in this type of research?
Yeah, actually, I've worked as a postdoc researcher in the University of Cagliari, and I'm working on some issues like my current focus is on finding and identifying some leftover spaces in order to activate them as a social spaces, and I focus on spacing techniques. Yeah, you.
There are a lot of presentations yesterday. Ma domani siamo insieme, lo sai? Io me l'ero perso. E invece siamo insieme. È la stessa sessione. Anche io, però ce la faremo. Interessante perché sono un buono strumento per attivarsi, che hanno interesse che la riutilizzazione
C'è qualcosa che appunto nel meccanismo
e poi la parte di coinvolgimento, il problema del coinvolgimento, perché ma anche ieri una persona ha parlato di avere anche una attiva, anche un po'
difficile perché secondo me c'è un po' di sfiducia in generale.
comunque nessuno ancora è come la soluzione
Sulla cena c'è un po' perché di fatto c'è un grande spazio, quindi
adesso stiamo facendo la dashboard perché l'hanno detto che poi nella nostra Cina non è tempo di ricerca, abbiamo molto più sopralluoghi, interviste, così poi c'è più. Quindi adesso abbiamo fatto le esigenze di droni per fare le immagini, non è carino, c'è il sito adesso anche, quindi ci sono queste informazioni tutte insieme su questi siti.
È interessante anche perché il sito di questo progetto
sì, delle infrastrutture
rilevanti ce n'è un sacco.
Abbiamo visto in Calabria invece c'era la teoria, la passare il carbone, dare... No, bello. Invece non ricordo niente. Proprio si interessano, perché quindi sono privati.
Tipo il 10% del resto del patrimonio abbandonato lì che è proprio attaccato in parco naturale, quindi anche
Sono privati. Sì.
Ma identificati perché
a volte allora quando si fa luoghi anche non uso delle discordanze tra anche quello che c'è, quello che è stato dichiarato, c'è di tutto, c'è. Allora molti sono occupati anche, sicuramente. Molti hanno delle satanici dentro, ho visto di tutto.
mamma mia.
No, guarda, io penso che siano delle cose che si dicono ancora, sì.
Ancora.
Ancora di moda, guarda.
Vabbè, dai, andiamo a prendere il caffè.
Excuse me, just 1.4 reminder, you need to explore each documentation based on your evaluation. Do you have the link? There's a link where you need to log into your account on Vista, and then you can explore each evaluation.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember. Okay. It's the first time.
Oh, really?
Something new.
Okay. Okay. If you see you this afternoon, you are with
Yeah,
us.
again in G. Next question.
Okay.
It's,
So, perfect. At 2 a.m. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's the second part of the written
Okay.
So see you later. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Biz başına üstüne çıkmış kurtarda. Kedinin arkasında tutuyor. Sevmiş. Tamam, nasıl? Nereden devam ediyor? Şöyle o konuya geçelim. Değişiklik oldu. Evet, normal aşkını gönderdik. Değişikliği bekliyorum artık. Mümkünse değiştirsin yani. Umarım değiştirirler. Evet, yani inatlaşacaklar gibi bir hisse kapalım ama neyse bakalım. İnşallah düşündüğüm olmaz. Olmuyor mu? Oldu ben ne oluyor? Şeylerim, yukarıdaki uyku odasında. O yukarıda ben sana ben de gideyim o zaman. Nasıl? Seni bekletiyorum. Hayır, yok. Sadece kitap. Sabah gelirken güneş yüzüme vuruyor diye şapkamı da aldım. Ben tütün de mesela. Bir de güneşin böyle özel gelecek. Taksiyle yürürüz yani. Hala aldım yapacağız. Turistiklerine. 1 saat diyor. 10 kilometre miydi neydi?
Öyle sadece yokuş olabilir.